brother, give me something, something groovy. Yeah, I'm going to the Lord. Now why don't you go there with me? I live my life by faith, I don't live my life by fear. Take a look at my face, do you see my tears? Streaming down my cheeks, streaming down my cheeks. They're for the joy and the love and the mercy that has befallen on me. Yeah. They're for the joy and the love and the mercy that has befallen on me. Yeah.
My shepherd has control. He doesn't lose sight of the crows. No, he knows where the wolves sleep at night. He leads me into pastures, and he leads me into pastures. Clothe me in silver, clothe me in gold. Hold my hand through this valley low. Hold my hand through this valley low.
I could go to other places without you, but I don't really want to. And how much sweeter life is with you. Well, I don't have anything better to do than spend time with you. Spend time with you. Spend time with you. Time with you.
We all come from the tree of life. We'll fall and find perspective.
Let's go.
We all come from the tree of life. We'll fall and find perspective. Spring up the wells from deep in my soul. Spring up the wells from deep in my soul. Spring up the wells from deep in my soul. Spring up the wells from deep in my soul. And show me where I should Spring
go
up the wells from
Show me
deep in
where
my
I should go. Yeah. Show me where I should
Spring
go
up the wells from
Show me
deep
where
in
I
my
should
soul.
go. Yeah. Show me where I should go. Show me where I should go. Yeah. Show me where I should go. Show me where I should go. Show me where I should go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, I could go to other places without you, but I don't really want to. And how much sweeter life is with you. Well, I don't have anything better to do than spend time with you. Spend time with you.
So today is vet day on the ranch, and tomorrow we have all their feet done. So we've had to kind of move horses around, separate them in ways that we don't normally do. We normally just kind of let them do their own thing. Anyway, today what I wanted to talk about was something that I was reading some comments, and I got some messages about several things from my last video, As a Man Thinketh, and I wanted to address something that somebody brought up, and that is appreciation. And I think it goes more into just what I was talking about last time. I was talking about finances and looking at supply as something that is really an infinite capability of all of us. Somebody brought up appreciation, and this has a little more to do with prayer than it does what I was talking about supply. And that is having sincere appreciation for everything that you have had. You sit back right now and think about your entire life. You've always been supplied with everything that you possibly needed. And appreciation is not just acknowledging that abundance of supply that you've had, but really appreciating sincerely everything that you have had and not seeing any lack to that. We live in a society where we're constantly being told that we need to go out and buy all these, all different sorts of things. I was thinking about this the other day just with food. If you're able to produce your own food, that's so much money back in your pocket. I mean, that's $500 a week, $2,000 a month that can go back in your pocket. But we're constantly driven to go out and buy all of this different types of food, different types of snacks, sugars, and mass-produced junk for an absorbent amount of money. And we feel like we have to do that in order to get the variety, where in reality all we have to do is figure out how to cook. I think that problem is kind of everywhere we look. This truck that I'm sitting on, I've done several videos on. It's an old truck that we rebuilt versus going out and buying a new truck. But the temptation is there to want to go buy a new truck because they've got all sorts of fun little fancy features and things that you overpay for, but they're really not necessary. And I feel like we're driven as consumers to the point of brokenness. Knowing that and knowing how much, some folks make and then consume, they're really no more better off than somebody who earns less but knows how to produce and be a little more conservative with their life's choices. Going back to appreciation, one of the things that occurred to me was, prayer. A lot of us are told to pray for things, or we pray for a particular outcome of something. The comment of appreciation and recognizing that everything that we have had has been perfect for our lives, it goes into prayer as well. When we pray, we need to approach it from the standpoint of appreciation, recognizing that everything that we have and need is already being supplied for us, and really appreciating that in our prayer instead of asking for more. I kind of feel like it's an insult to God to pray to God and ask for more. And I feel like that goes into when we're praying about our health as well. We need to recognize that God created us perfect. And so what are we saying is imperfect? I feel like that could go down a whole other rabbit hole, so I'll come back to that. The most effective method of prayer is the prayer for fervent desire and growth and grace and meekness and harmony, and really recognizing all of that to be true about your life's situation. The reason why I say fervent desire in those areas is, if you listen to what I said, grace, meekness, harmony, to really, truly, honestly desire those things. If that is what you are after, everything else has to fall in place. But if what you're praying for is a particular outcome in a job situation, or a particular outcome in a relationship, or a health situation, or an abundance of supply situation, you're asking for a particular outcome within all of those things. And what I think you'll find is that if you focus on just praying for grace, meekness, harmony, an abundance of good, love, then what you'll find is that sometimes all of that falls into place in an order that was unconceivable to ourselves. And for the most of the time, it's much better than whatever it was specifically that we were praying for. So I think a lot of folks who have turned their back on faith because they're finding that they have unanswered prayers, or the prayer seems ineffective to them, I think that a lot of times what it comes down to is, what are you praying for in the first place? Are you praying for a particular outcome, or are you praying for all of these qualities of and attributes of life to come into yours? Because if that's what you're praying for, that could happen in so many different ways. And I'm not saying that God isn't specific, but to be completely honest with you, I think that in a spiritual sense, none of these material things even really matter in the first place. So praying about some sort of outcome to what would be perceived as a material situation versus praying to recognize your spiritual existence within all of the qualities and feelings of things that you are hoping for in return of that material situation. recognizing your place within the spiritual realm is going to take you a lot further with your prayer than praying for some sort of material outcome that God really doesn't know a whole lot about. That is how you should be praying, and I think that if you are approaching your thought process from that direction, you're going to find the results that you're looking for, and the results often are 10 times better than you ever could imagine. I had a situation with a job where I ran a business and we were dealing with a tremendous amount of financial stress from partnerships that we were in, and I had always been able to find a way to work everything out and keep everything going. And finally, it occurred to me one day, somebody said to me, "Charlie, are you running your business, or are you letting God run your business? You keep running into these challenges and you're able to solve them, but what are you really praying for? Are you praying for a particular outcome of the business that you're operating, or are you praying for an abundance of supply in life in general? Are you praying to recognize that your employment and your work is fulfilling and complete?" Kind of takes the whole picture of the job situation and tosses it aside and says, am I looking at this from somebody who has to keep a particular business model going in order to succeed and have the things that I need in life? Or am I looking at this as somebody who is serving a purpose and is letting God lead their life in the direction that's best for them? I decided to take a little more hands off at that point and accept the fact that I could be directed to bigger and better things, and my situation wasn't simply surrounded by this one particular job or business that I had built. Shortly after that, I was out of the business altogether, and it was kind of what I would consider a harmonious exit. I found that the life that I was living, trying to operate that business, was very unfulfilling in so many ways. And since then, so many things have happened in my life years later that make me so grateful for that moment and that realization that what I was holding on to was this material picture of a job, and what I was missing out on was all the great things that God had in store for me. All I had to do was change the way I was praying about things, elevate my thought a little bit, and see the doors open on the other side. I would challenge those of you who feel that prayer is ineffective to open your thought a little bit and try and see a bigger picture when you're praying. Try and remove the physical elements, the material concepts of what you're praying about, and start focusing more on the qualities of life, the spiritual qualities of those concepts, those material concepts. And you might find doors open up that you never even imagined all of a sudden, and you're living a much more fulfilling life just because instead of praying about something or for something, you started to pray to see the abundance of it in your life. I think that faith can take you a long ways if you just start trusting in it. Letting faith guide you in directions that you've never perceived, and leaving behind your material concept of it.